What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTV Ravens Media, bringing Ravens content every single day. If you want to see daily Ravens content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below and the notification bell as well if you want to get notified every single time I upload a brand new video. Now, I got some Ravens news today for you. Sorry it's coming out a little bit later than I would have liked, but if you did not know, the Ravens are reportedly interested in trading for Eagles offensive tackle Andre Dillard. And I'm just going to be talking about that in today's video. And one of my favorite parts about this, he's young. This guy was drafted in 2019. He was born in 1995. He's about 26 years old. That's big time for the Baltimore Ravens. If they can go after a former first-round pick 22 in 2019 out of Washington State, the Ravens can hopefully be able to transition this guy into a guy that not only could be there for this year, but also potentially for the future to come. Now, obviously, we have Alejandro Villanueva playing on the left side of the offensive line. He's only signed to a 2-year deal this year, next year. However, the Ravens can opt out of that, the next year if they don't feel like he's performing well. He's been performing decently well. Hasn't been amazing. Has had some really atrocious games, though. But if Andre Dillard's allowed to be with Baltimore, first-round picks, they have a fifth-year team option. And so that's something that the Ravens could be looking at. There's a lot of things that the Ravens could look at with the positives for this. Now, one thing about him, he did not play last season. He did play in 2019, however, so I'll talk about that, and I'll talk about his play this year. But overall, I think that this could be a really smart move. And before I even talk about like how good he is, I want to talk about something that I was looking into because I was looking at like Eagles trade rumors and things like that to see like what Eagles fans were thinking. And I saw his name popping up a little bit and like what they wanted for him. And I was seeing things like, potential Eagles trade. Eagles trade Andre Dillard for a Panthers 6th round pick. I think the Ravens could afford a 6th round pick in a trade for an offensive tackle. I think the Ravens would be willing to spend a lot more than a 6th round pick in a trade for an offensive tackle that's very young. Now, is he going to be a superstar offensive tackle that comes in like Marcus Peters came in 2019 and just dominates? No, that will not be the case. Do not expect that to be the case. However, he is going to be a guy that if the Ravens do end up pulling the trigger for, could contribute and could develop with the Baltimore Ravens into becoming a really solid offensive tackle, because obviously Patrick McCary got injured. Ravens go out and they sign the former Seahawks offensive tackle. I believe you pronounce his name Ogbuehi. Honestly, no idea if I'm pronouncing that correctly or not, but they sign him to the practice squad. He's expected to be elevated to the full roster. And then, we have Alejandro Villanueva on the left side, but if he goes down, the Ravens are screwed. They can't do anything. But now let's talk about his overall play. I'll start with his rookie year, 2019. Now, the Eagles, they've had some offensive struggles in the last couple of years. They just don't really have the weapons. They had Carson Wentz. They've had some good offensive linemen, guys like Lane Johnson, but guys like Jason Kelsey. But they're always seeming to get banged up all the time. And, they just haven't had that running game. Miles Sanders hasn't been getting those rushing attempts, that Eagles fans want him to see. The wide receivers, they drafted Jalen Reagor, hasn't been amazing. They drafted J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, hasn't been amazing. Devontae Smith this year hasn't been bad. They have Quez Watkins and things like that. But, overall, the offense has just really struggled, and the defense has struggled as well. So, it's very difficult to judge. He got a 59.7 PFF grade. He had 4 sacks allowed, 1 penalty in his rookie year, which obviously that's not very good. But that was before they had Jalen Hurts. So 2019, this is when they had Carson Wentz as their quarterback. And that's something where you can look at it as Carson Wentz isn't the greatest quarterback of all time at evading pressure. He's not bad at it by any means, but ever since he got injured that year they won the Super Bowl, his mobility and escapability has definitely decreased. So him not being able to move nearly as much as he used to be able to, and then also just the running game just not being there. The Eagles offense has been very predictable and very easy to stop. So I don't want to negate all of those and say it's totally fine. Like I said before, he's not going to come in if the Ravens trade for him and just dominate. However, this year he's played 264 offensive snaps at tackle, 59th most in the NFL, only allowed 1 sack. He does have 6 penalties, which is an issue. Now, one of those issues could be that last year, everybody that played, just trying to get back that communication on the offensive line is tough, because now that there are fans back in the stadium, it's making it a little bit more difficult. Also, they have a very young quarterback who had never played in the NFL with those sort of communication issues. Jalen Hurts, obviously coming from Alabama and then Oklahoma. Now he's obviously with the Eagles, and like just trying to get all of that communication down is going to take a little bit of time. But you know what? The Eagles offense is still an offense that is struggling significantly. They're not giving the ball to Miles Sanders. Now, obviously, Sanders is hurt, but for most of the season, he's been healthy. They haven't been giving it to him. They haven't been running the ball well. The offense is stalled completely. They just haven't been doing anything that they really wanted to do. But you know what? He does have a 68.5, which isn't terrible. You know what? That's like a decent grade. And it's a serviceable offensive lineman that I would be okay with the Ravens starting. I wouldn't expect him to dominate a TJ Watt or Miles Garrett. He would probably get shredded by both of those guys. But guy that could potentially really come in and be a guy that the Ravens can lean on going into the postseason if Makari isn't able to come back, if he's able to just step up his game, all those types of things. I'm really happy that the Ravens are interested in him. I will say, I believe the Browns are also interested in him. So hopefully, stealing a guy away from the Browns would also be a good thing. But if the Ravens could send over even a 4th-round pick for him, I would take that. But in the Eagles thing, they were saying 6th-round pick. So I'm really hoping. I don't know why he would be available. Potentially, it could be something that nobody likes him. I really don't know. It's just not that I haven't seen anything about him being a very patronizing player and a locker room issue. Now, comment down below if he is, and I'm not aware of that. But as far as I know, the Eagles are just potentially looking at trading him. They're definitely tanking this year. The Cowboys are really solid. Doesn't look like they're gonna be able to make the playoffs. So, and they also have 3 or 4 first-round picks in this upcoming draft. The Eagles are going to be pretty well set off. They'll probably get an offensive tackle if they're looking to replace him. So overall, those are kind of my thoughts on it. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you want the Ravens to go after Andre Dillard? Thank you, everybody, for watching. Subscribe for more Daily Ravens content, and I will see all of you again tomorrow.